In late March, a Navajo tribal member learned she had been exposed to coronavirus and sought testing at an Indian Health Service, or IHS, hospital.
They turned me away and told me that I didn't have any symptoms. That night, around midnight, I started to run fevers. And the next day, the body aches started. They were so excruciating, like every bone in my body was hurting, all the way down to the tip of my toes, to the tip of my fingers, with very, very bad headaches.
Farah Begay returned to the IHS hospital, but they refused to admit her or her 66-year-old mother, who was also ill.
They turned us away and told us that, come back until it gets worse. And you know, at that point, you're like, what does worse mean? What's worse than this? It's going to get worse than this?
The IHS is run by the federal government in Washington. It is notoriously underfunded, understaffed, and under-equipped. We asked the IHS repeatedly over several weeks for an interview, but got nowhere.
We don't have the best healthcare system on the Navajo Nation. We have been hit hard by this virus that has snuck into our communities here on the Navajo Nation.
Navajo lands are impoverished, rural, and arid. Basic infrastructure is shockingly bad.
You know, you got the CDC saying, wash your hands with soap and water, everybody. But you know what? 30% of our Navajo people do not have running water.
He says Native American communities aren't getting the emergency money they need for testing and equipment.
We're just getting little bits of funding to our nations, and that's all the tribes throughout the country. It just seems like the first citizens of this country have been ignored once again.
On her fourth visit to the IHS, barely able to breathe, Begay pleaded desperately for help.
We're already feeling pain and fear. So when is worse going to be worse until we're dead?
She and her mother were finally taken to better equipped hospitals in Arizona. After weeks, they have now recovered, but many Navajo have not.
I've known people personally from this community that were turned away like that, went home, and died in their own homes.
The first Americans, once again, last in line for help. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.